two farmers, two brothers used to live there.
Is there a story?
Their names were Peter and Brian. Now, Peter and Brian, they got along well, especially since their parents died and left them to farm. You know, they maintained everything. They got the cows out the range and fed the cows. And they had this hut with a sod roof on it. But Pete and Theo, you know, they got lonely sometimes, and the town was very, very, very far away. So they made a scarecrow, and they named the scarecrow Theo. So Pete and Brian, am I getting the names mixed up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. True story. Don't call me out.
Is it a scary story?
Yes, it's a very scary story.
Are you serious?
Fair to Midland.
So, Pete and Brian made this scarecrow they called Theo. And, you know, they didn't want the scarecrow to get wrecked when they went in for the night, so they bring Theo, the scarecrow, inside. And they would say mean things to it, like, Theo, you got a little dirt on your face, and they would throw dirt in his face. Or Theo, you know, you're looking a little pudgy, and then they would jab him with a broomstick in the stomach. Or Theo, you've got a little oatmeal on your face, and they would take a bowl of oatmeal and smush it in his face. And, you know, then they would put him out in the morning to scare off the birds from their crop. And at night, they would do the same thing. Pete and Brian would bring that scarecrow in, and they would just treat it like trash. They would toss it in the back where the dog slept, and then when the dog was tired, they'd kick it out, being like, get out of the dog's bed, Theo. Treating this scarecrow like it was,
Like he wasn't a human being.
yeah, like he wasn't a human being, but, you know, he wasn't. One day, Pete and Brian had been working so hard out in the field that they forgot to take the scarecrow in. So Theo the scarecrow was out there all night, and all of a sudden, Brian wakes up in the middle of the night and looks out the window at the scarecrow, and the scarecrow is jiggling around on the post. He's jiggling around, and then all of a sudden, he's got two green glowing eyes staring right back at him, and he just goes right back to bed and pretends like he didn't ever see it. The next day, they go about their business. They herd the cows. They take care of the farm, and at the end of the day, they bring Theo in this time, and they say, Theo, how'd you like it out there last night? Was it cold? Was it cold? You sack of hay, and they would kick him, and then they threw some oatmeal at him, and then it grunted. The scarecrow grunted at them. and they said, did you do that? No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. We must have just been imagining it. It was crazy talk. Scarecrows can't grunt, can they? So the next day they do the same thing. They go out, they do their farming business, and at the end of the day they bring Theo in, and they're a little bit more careful with him this time because they're a little on edge. They've never heard a hey scarecrow grunt. So they think, well, maybe it was something like a mouse or something made a noise inside of him. So they cut open his neck and looked inside the hay, and they were fishing around the hay, didn't find anything. And they left him there, and then he grunted again. I said, this is bad. This is bad news. I want nothing of this. So they put the scarecrow outside. They don't even put him on the post. They just kick him out the door. And then Pete and Brian, they stay up all night watching as the scarecrow marched around the house, grunting and looking in at them with his cold green eyes.
More glaring than looking, actually.
Yeah, more glaring than looking. And then finally in the morning, Pete and Brian get up and they go outside to do their business very cautiously, and they see that Theo is up on his post, you know, doing the scarecrow thing, staying there perfectly still. Birds are landing on him. He's being a good scarecrow. They thought to themselves, we're crazy. This is totally nuts. But one of us has to go into town and get supplies, and it's a very long journey. Who's it going to be? Who gets to go to town? So they argued about that for a little bit. They both liked it going in town, and nobody really wanted to stay back with Theo the scarecrow. So Brian finally won, and he's leaving, and he's on his horseback, and he's galloping away, and he forgets, oh man, I forgot the money to buy all these supplies back with. So he goes back, and he sees from a distance, he sees Theo the scarecrow run around the house. And he doesn't want to go any closer because this is really freaking him out. This is not a hallucination this time. This is real life craziness going on. So he's standing there watching Theo run around the house, and then he gallops in just a little bit closer, and Theo the Scarecrow, he's stretching something out on the roof, and he gets a little closer and sees that it's the skin of his brother Pete. And then he rides away from that farm, never ever to return. That's why that little farmhouse is all dilapidated and fallen over, because nobody never ever went back to live there. And that's the story of Wheat's Meadow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I believe it.
Yeah, right. Sleep in the cabin. Yeah.
Interesting, though a tad anticlimactic.
You and your
Color guard, forward march.